It was like a movie, but you watched the planes hit the towers.
I was watching with my roommate. It was approximately several minutes after the first plane had hit. I saw this plane come out of nowhere and just ream right into the side of the Twin Tower, exploding through the other side. And then I witnessed both towers collapse, one first and then the second, mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense. Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense. Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
Good old Harley guy, hey? Good for a laugh. Now, let me ask you a question, and I'm hoping you'll give me your answer in the comments section below. Does 9/11 still matter? Does 9/11 still matter? This event that we call 9/11, is it still important? What are we now? Almost 17 years on. Is it still a significant thing? You see, recently we were fortunate enough to have Ab from fakeologist.com on a members Skype call, and I'll put the link to that in the info box below. And we spent a lot of time discussing this event, 9/11. And it seems to me that even among people who consider themselves to be awake or red-pilled, many of them still seem to believe that 9/11 was this event that was hatched up in the months or years leading up to the event as an excuse to go and start a war in the Middle East, or to start a bunch of wars in the Middle East. And the fact that it's been 17 years and the internet is now ubiquitous, we all have instant access to so much information. The fact that there are still people out there who believe that 9/11 was a 3 or 4 year plan or a 10-year plan to justify a war in the Middle East, it's amusing to me. It's also befuddling to me. So what I want to do is share with you some ideas that might help you to see why some of us, and there's more than just me out there, the numbers are growing, not fast, and they never will. This never will become a popular opinion, and there's reasons for that. But there's more than just me out there saying this. In fact, there was a guy way before me, his name is Marcus Allen, who was talking about some of the ideas that I'm going to touch on in this video. So first of all, you've got the Twin Towers. Now, have you seen this photo before? Have you seen this photo of the Twin Towers? As you can see, they look like they might be hollow. And one photo is not proof of anything, but if you're not familiar with this concept, let me outline it to you. There's a notion that maybe the Twin Towers were designed from the very start to be brought down on September 11. And to help facilitate that, they designed them to be hollow. And so this exoskeleton design, where the load bearing was being done on the columns on the outside, that was not some revolutionary architectural or structural engineering trick to increase office space. That was a trick to help bring these bad boys down on September 11. It's called the Hollow Tower Theory. And if you're not familiar with it, just Google it, look into it, see what you think. It might sound crazy at first, but, well, what doesn't? What truth do you know that did not seem crazy when you first heard it? Now let's take a look at our friend David Rockefeller on the front cover of Newsweek, April 3 in 1967. Coincidentally, 1 year to the day before both 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick and Planet of the Apes were released. They were released on the same day, on April 3, 1968. Well, 1 year before that, we've got David Rockefeller himself with his little watch pointing to 9 and 11 on the front cover of Newsweek. And what's on the back of that very same issue? What gives Territon the taste worth fighting for? Oh, and we've just got, by amazing chance, some dude wearing a jacket with what could easily be perceived as, well, it kind of looks like a twin tower, doesn't it? Kind of looks like it. I'm not saying this is proof of anything, but it is interesting. And then finally over here we've got Saddam Hussein, the cartoon character. Now, regardless of what you think about the towers, or about David Rockefeller, or any of this, tell me, do you believe that this dude was actually running Iraq? Do you really believe that? That this dictator, this boogeyman dictator, he's running Iraq, and the Americans or the evil elites have to go and take over Iraq from this rogue dictator. Do you really believe that? Now, I've got this photo here. This is from South Park, isn't it? And you might say, well, that's not really Saddam Hussein. This is a cartoon version of him. What if I told you that Saddam Hussein is a cartoon character from the start? He is a comic book bad guy. He's a Goldstein-style fake boogeyman. What if I told you that? What if I told you that was a possibility? And so, putting some of these concepts together, what if, I'm just asking, what if the Twin Towers were designed from the get-go to be brought down as part of a ritual, and I'll speak more about that in a moment, and that there's little allusions that we see to it from the start. They're not by accident, but they're also not any kind of symbol of nefarious intent, because the bad guy that they were going to use to justify going to war was a fake bad guy to begin with, and this is all just one big joke. What if? What if? That's my question for you. So what I'll do is I'll put a link in the info box below. Let's go back to the front page of johnlebon.com, and you can see our most recent member Skype call there with Ab from fakeologist.com. And what I've also published in the last few weeks is a 3-part series called Transcending 9/11. I'm pretty proud of that artwork, by the way. Check that out. Not bad at all, if I do say so myself. And you can access that as well on johnlebon.com. And in it I talk about what I think 9/11 was all about and why I think it is still such an important event. And so many times over the past few years I've thought, aha, I've cracked the code, I've worked it out. But even just in the last few months, I've discovered things that make a lot more sense to me. Now, there's one more thing. While I've got your attention, I want to clear some confusion up. It seems that some people might not quite understand what's going on here. At the moment, you can sign up as a foundation member of johnlebon.com for just US $16 per month, and that will get you access to all of the material on johnlebon.com, including this call, about 20 other podcasts, about 40 or 50 articles, including Transcending 9/11, a whole range of material that you can get instant access to. And again, it's only US $16 per month. So going back to my little illustration here, you tell me in the comment section below, do you believe these towers were full? Do you actually believe they were used the way that normal office buildings are? And if so, why? Do you believe this 9/11 on this dude's watch is just a coincidence? Do you believe these jackets are just a coincidence? Do you believe that this clown character was really the leader of Iraq and 9/11 was used as a justification to go and invade his country? Do you believe all of this mumbo jumbo nonsense? Let me know in the comments section below. Make sure you check the links in the info box. And again, remember, unless you are a hobo, I recommend you check out the membership options at johnlebon.com. Sign up as a foundation member and get access to a range of material that you will not find anywhere else. And we'll leave it there for today. So on the 12th of June 2018, until next time, you guys take care of yourselves.
I was watching with my roommate. It was approximately several minutes after the first plane had hit. I saw this plane come out of nowhere and just ream right into the side of the Twin Tower, exploding through the other side. And then I witnessed both towers collapse, one first and then the second, mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense. Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense. Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense. Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense. Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense. Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.